sessions of the G20 foreign ministers concluded a short while back. While there was a consensus on a range of issues, there was one sticking point, and an obvious one, which was Ukraine, which is why there is not going to be any joint communication from the foreign ministers. Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Levrov has lashed out at the West for stalling negotiations between Ukraine and Russia. Right after External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar held bilateral talks with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, Jaishankar also met China's Foreign Minister Qin Gang, who is on his first trip to India. During the meeting, the two countries discussed the standoff at the line of actual control. The discussions were focused on establishing peace and tranquility in the border areas. And news that is coming in is that United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken had a brief encounter with his Russian counterpart Sergey Levrov on the sidelines of the G20 summit. During their exchange, Blinken, in fact, stressed Washington's support for a peaceful resolution to the war in Ukraine. So that is what Washington Post is reporting. When we look at that article, it says clearly that this was a chance meet which happened on the sidelines, and it's an important meet, certainly. It was not like the same that there was no meeting whatsoever in Bali, but this was a rare encounter which happened at the G20 meet in New Delhi. And in this meeting, Blinken, in fact, stressed Washington's support for a peaceful resolution to the war in Ukraine that maintains the country's territorial integrity, said a State Department official. That's what Washington Post says. And he stressed that Ukraine and the U.S. want this war to end on that basis. But what has been missing is a similar determination from Moscow. Siddhant is joining me live. Siddhant, any moment perhaps we can expect that press conference by Antony Blinken. When is it likely to start? And of course, this will be one of the questions that will be asked to him.
That's right, Maria. In fact, the press conference is getting delayed. Reasons are yet not known to us. But our correspondent Abhishek Jha is present right there at a venue where press conference is taking place. Now, this press conference is significant, Maria, because there have been multiple allegations which have been made by Sergey Levrov in his press conference, saying that US is US-UK. Western powers are still practicing a colonial style of functioning. He also alleged that the price oil cap is being put in place so that they get benefit out of it. He also went on to say that the visit of Olaf Scholz or Secretary Blinken to the other Central Asian countries are nothing but to get these countries on board against Russia. So series of allegations have been made by Sergey Levrov, and this is perhaps the reason that we would get to hear Antony Blinken on all those allegations. A. B, Maria, since afternoon there was a buzz at a media center. In fact, you were also reporting from there this morning, and that both the leaders had a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of G20. But by evening, we got this confirmation. In fact, first statement came from the spokesperson of Russia saying that it was a contact. It was not a bilateral meeting. It was a contact. So Blinken had requested for a contact, and which was accepted by Levrov. And then they both met. And then later, American journalists have started publishing stories about how Blinken and Levrov met for 10 minutes.
Yes.
And then we got to know that this meeting did take place. There are various names which are being given to this meeting. Russians are calling it contact. Americans are saying it is a pull-aside meeting. And
it is also being called an encounter. And I'm looking at CNN's report, Siddhant. It says that, of course, this is the first time since the war in Ukraine began more than a year ago that a meeting of this nature, an encounter or a pull-aside or whatever you may call, an encounter of 10 minutes is what has happened between Antony Blinken and Foreign Minister Sergey Levrov. We are slipping into a short break. After that, I'm going to go straight to the BJP headquarters.